If you're a realtor running Facebook or Instagram ads and you feel like you're burning money, you're probably making one critical mistake that I see over and over again. In today's video, I'm going to break down why most realtors' ad campaigns flop and exactly what you can do to fix it so you can stop lighting your money on fire. If you're new to the channel, my name's Emma Pace. I run a marketing agency called SalesGenius for realtors, but most importantly, I've been a licensed realtor for the last decade myself, and I've used paid advertising as my main mechanism to acquire clients. So if you're looking for more information around paid ads and how to scale and convert leads on the back end, then subscribe to this channel because we've got tons of good stuff on the channel for you. So here's what I see happen all the time. A realtor will launch their ads, okay? And it doesn't really matter what it is. It could be a home evaluation ad. It could be some type of lead, like a traditional lead magnet for buyers. It doesn't really matter what it is. But what they'll do is they'll launch their ad and a couple of things will happen. Once they launch the ad, it either generates what I would call, I call them UQs, so unqualified people, right? Or the second thing, it'll generate, potentially a lead. It depends on what you're obviously going after, whether you're going after leads or booked calls or whatever it happens to be. For the purpose of this video, we're going to talk about leads specifically. So it might generate an unqualified lead, or it might generate a lead that is more expensive than what the realtor had in the back of their mind that they would potentially pay for this lead, okay? So these could be the two main things that happen right out the gate when somebody launches a paid advertising campaign. And so what this does is this signals to the realtor, oh, we need to shut this thing off. And so what happens is maybe they spend $100 to $200 and they get a couple of these things come through, and what they end up doing is they shut the campaign off. And I get it. I understand when you're spending money, you don't want to feel like you're lighting it on fire. But most importantly, when you do this, in fact, you are lighting your money on fire because you're not giving the algorithm, you're not giving the multi-billion, if not close to trillion-dollar company that predominantly makes their money off of paid advertising. I think they know a little bit about what they're doing. Your $100 to $200 isn't making a material impact. And you having run 1 to 2 paid advertising campaigns when you're a specialist in real estate doesn't mean that you're going to outsmart the AI algorithm. So if we're talking about lighting money on fire, launching a campaign and then canceling it after 2 or 3 days because you get 1 or 2 unsatisfactory results that come through your paid advertising campaign, that's how you light money on fire. So let me explain to you how this typically works. When you launch a campaign, what's going to happen is the algorithm is, of course, going to start spending your money to try and get you a couple of conversions. And essentially what it's doing when it starts spending your money is it's cycling through audiences. Now, for the most part, you will know if you've run paid advertising with real estate, we're under the special ads category, so we need to utilize broad targeting, meaning that we can't choose like interests and things of that nature. That is not a problem. Most of the big advertisers that I know, even outside of the real estate industry, that aren't restricted with special ads categories, don't even use targeting anyways. The way that they target for specific audiences is through copywriting, which is something that we can go through in another video on this page. But most importantly, for today's video, what I want to show you is how this works. So when you launch a campaign, it starts to spend money. What it's going to do is it starts to cycle through some audiences, and it's going to start finding you a couple of early winners, okay? Now, maybe in a lead bundle, you get some unqualified people, you get some qualified people, etc. But essentially what happens is when the ads start running and it starts showing to your audiences, okay, it goes through this thing, and you'll notice when you launch your campaign, it goes through something called the learning phase. And during this learning phase is when it's continuing to cycle through audiences to try and find you some winners. And so historically, what Meta is going to need, especially with like the current algorithm, is it needs to find usually, and it depends on how much you've advertised, your particular account, things of that nature, but historically, it's going to need 20 to 50 conversion events. And we'll talk about conversion events in a second, different things that you can optimize for. But it needs 20 to 50 things to happen in order for it to figure itself out. And so if you're canceling after 2 to 3, it might have just gone after 2 to 3 bad people at the beginning and you got some bad luck. But maybe the next 33 people that come through are the people that you want. And guess what? Facebook advertising is a little bit like, think about like marinating a steak. It tends to get, provided that you're giving it the right information and the right feedback, and you can do that through something called pixel seasoning, which we're not going to get into in this video. But over time, if you're sending the right information back to the pixel, it's going to continue to find the right people over and over and over again, because you're telling it, hey, keep sending me more people like this. But if you shut the campaign off after it's only sent you 2 to 3 bad people, it still doesn't know at this point who the heck you're going after. You're just saying, stop. You're not saying what's good, what's bad. You're not giving it any indication as to what it is that you're looking for. And so what you need to do is to get one of these conversion events, which again, I'm going to talk to you about right now. You need to get one of these conversion events, or you need to get the campaign out of the learning phase so that it knows who it should be going after. Now, once it's out of the learning phase, if you still find that it's not necessarily bringing in the right people, obviously there's other things that we can do to optimize the campaign. That could potentially be through a relaunch. That could potentially be through changing some ad copy. We might have to look at the offer. There's several different things that we might need to do to get a better understanding of why it's not bringing in the right people. But for the most part, it's a multi-billion-dollar company that specifically specializes in advertising. If your ads aren't working for you, with all due respect, usually a you thing and not a them thing, okay? You just got to know what you're doing. So conversion events can be a couple of different things. You can run ads for traffic, just to get people to view stuff. You can run ads to get leads, which is, predominantly what most people in the real estate industry are looking for. You can do booked calls, trying to get people to book on your calendar. These are historically going to be the most expensive. Most real estate agents, I would not suggest that as the predominant conversion event, because you probably have no idea how the funnel looks or the things that you need to have on the page and things of that nature. Traffic is going to be the cheapest, meaning it's not going to cost you a lot of money to get a lot of people to your page. However, it might not be that likely to convert. So leads, for the most part, is the conversion event that most people will go after, depending on what their business looks like, how much money they have to spend, what their overall objectives are, how they're converting, and having conversations on the back end and things of that nature. But what I wanted to show you for the purpose of this particular video is quitting and canceling your campaigns too soon can often be a huge problem, not only for that particular campaign, but it's not actually helping you with your advertising account on Facebook even get any particular information back to your own pixel to start training it to say, these are the types of people that I'm going after. So what you need to do is actually spend some money. The only way that Facebook is going, the meta algorithm, not even just meta, any advertising algorithm is going to be able to continue to optimize is by receiving information, and you receive the information by paying to play. That's why it's paid advertising and not free advertising. But over a prolonged duration of time, normally what we want to do is have some type of test budget. For us internally, our test budget could be anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 for a campaign, because we do a lot of paid advertising and we know what our metrics look like and we know how to convert the leads on the back end, so that I understand if I spend $100, and I'm saying that that's for SalesGenius, for me as a company, not necessarily our clients, there needs to be some type of test budget. And if your test budget is $10 or $50, you're not really giving it enough juice. You're not making the juice worth the squeeze, and you're not giving enough juice to the actual algorithm to help go out there and find the right people. And so one of the things that you could be doing right now that could potentially be killing your overall, actually the thing that is lighting your money on fire the most, is doing these like micro tests, thinking that like one day you're just going to like cast into the pond and catch a fish right away. The best way to catch a fish is to be able to know that I'm going to cast in a pond where there is fish and have enough time to be able to stay there and cast and get a bite. You don't just show up and go fishing, cast your reel once, expect that you're getting a fish and going home. And that's kind of like a good analogy for how a lot of real estate agents advertise. you gotta have your line in the water for long enough to get a couple of bites and understand, hey, you know what? Normally when I go to this pond, I actually get a couple of bites, but when I go over here, it's not usually that great. And so what we want to be able to do is cast in the right ponds, or allow the algorithm to cast in the right ponds to say, hey, usually when we go over here, these are the types of people that you're looking to go after. So I hope this was valuable enough. I hope this actually saves you money over time. And if you're interested in having us run your paid advertising for you, there's a link in the description below where you can learn more about what we do at SalesGenius. And if you're looking to scale your business and become a top producer and you want to do so via paid advertising, I'd strongly encourage you to click that link and learn more about what we do. And I'll see you in the next video.